From the beginning, we had always said we wanted to be more than just an office space, right? Like we wanted to be more than just landlords. And so our mission statement from the beginning was that we exist to help Columbia's entrepreneurs build thriving businesses. And we genuinely believe that like that's where success comes from. I mean, that's where like the community grows. That's where jobs come from. That's where so much innovation comes from entrepreneurs. And we wanted to really support the revival of the Columbia's entrepreneurial community. My name is John Meese. I am the self-proclaimed Chief Education Officer of Cowork Columbia. So I own this business, but I also run a couple of online businesses. And so I spent the last few years teaching entrepreneurs how to build businesses on the internet all over the world. But as I fell in love with Columbia, I really wanted to take more of that locally, which is why we started this business here. So we are Cowork Columbia. We're still new to the community. We opened actually on January 15th, so not too far before the coronavirus lockdown, the great lockdown as economists are calling it, happened. But we started as just a co-working space, but from the beginning, it was always a co-working space focused on entrepreneurs. So our website and all of our language was, we are an on-demand workspace for entrepreneurs. Hence the entrepreneurs welcome sign on the wall. We've always, from the beginning, wanted to help Columbia's entrepreneurs build thriving businesses. That's been our mission statement. But in the midst of this, now we're really repositioning as the fact that we are still a co-working space. We still have a flexible workspace that people can rent by the day or the month. But really, that's only part of the puzzle, that we're actually an entrepreneur center. And so that's kind of, that's been a move that's been expedited by the current crisis. So it's kind of crazy to think back to January, which seems like a long time ago, not just a few months. But January 15th, we had our big grand opening celebration here. We had, more than 100 people here. I don't know exactly how many, but we did a big ribbon cutting with the Chamber of Commerce. We had, so Cowork Columbia is our name, but we often use COCO, like the acronym. So we had hot cocoa at COCO as part of, we had this big celebration. We opened with fanfare. We had people sign up. And then we were just starting to get momentum in our second month being open. So we've been open for 58 days when I got a call from someone who'd been in our space that said that they thought they had coronavirus, COVID-19. So they'd gone to their doctor, and at this time there were still no tests available in the area, but they had all the symptoms, and they tested negative for strep and the flu. So when we got that call, we just felt like we had to do the best we could. We closed it for 2 weeks and said, hey, we're going to deep clean. We're going to reopen with a new layout and new cleaning protocol. And we did that. So we actually we hired a sitter so that my wife and I, because we have 3 little kids, we hired a sitter so that my wife and I could spend the entire weekend right before we reopened, deep cleaning everything and getting everything ready to go. And then we reopened on that Monday, so 2 weeks later. And that was the Monday that the Tennessee governor issued an executive order closing all non-essential businesses. So we were open for about 4 or 5 hours that day. And then we were closed again. So we sent a big email. We're like, hey guys, we're open again and we're here. And we sent another one that said, just kidding. If you didn't read the last email, you can ignore it. We're not open after all. So I'm not gonna lie, that was a blow. We didn't really see that coming. And so maybe we should have, I don't know. But so we were open for a total of 58 days from grand opening until that first closure. And then when we closed for 2 weeks, and then the executive order kept us closed for a full month, so we were closed for a total of 48 days. So remember, grand opening, 58 days, and then closed for a total of 48 days. So we lost a lot of momentum along that. I mean, that was definitely a blow. And because we have little kids, and we count on preschool, and preschool was out, and all of a sudden everything was kind of turned upside down. So wasn't the rocket ship to growth that we expected when we opened the business. But people have still been really supportive, and we really what we did was we just went back to our mission statement and said, okay. We literally got in front of a whiteboard late at night, my wife and I, and said, okay, why do we create this business? Okay, is that still relevant? And the answer is very much yes. Essentially, what that looks like now is different than 3 or 4 months ago, but it's still important. In fact, it's probably more important now than it was before. So we use that as a driving force to, as we're recording this, we're in the midst of announcing really a pivot for our business to say that, you know what, we are still a workspace. That's still part of what we do, but that's not really who we are. We're still Cowork Columbia, but we are Muletown's Entrepreneur Center. And so it's actually exciting, but it's interesting that it took a crisis and a lockdown right after we opened for us to realize that that's really the best way to say what we're trying to do, is that we are an entrepreneur center. So we're we're working on classes that we're going to be offering for existing business owners and how to rebuild and adapt their business to the new economy. But then closely behind that, we're also planning to launch a program for new entrepreneurs, people that want to start new businesses, to help them validate their idea and walk through that whole process of just building up everything that it takes to build a business from scratch, because that can be really overwhelming. And the reality is more than 30 million people in the US just got promoted to entrepreneur. So we want to help them figure out what to do with that. And we still have members who come and use this as an inspiring workspace. So we have focus rooms and connect rooms dedicated to different types of work for people to have, as far as I know, the fastest Wi-Fi in the city. So I'm just going to throw that out there, and we also are sort of like a satellite location for Muletown Coffee, and very much we are evangelists for Muletown Coffee, so we have that here too. So good coffee, good Wi-Fi, and a good comfortable workstation where you can sit down and just focus around people who are also working on their own projects. I mean, that's kind of the first thing, because we know that so much growth comes from having the right community around you. And while I love the environment of going somewhere like Muletown Coffee where you can sit down and work, I mean, you never really know who's going to be in there or how crowded it's going to be or how loud it's going to be. And so we wanted to create an environment where, everybody who's here is focused on building something great. And, it's been fun to see how some of those conversations have come together. Even though we were only open 58 days before the lockdown, we had our first LLC birthed here, where we had a few guys come book our conference room and meet and map out their business plan, file the paperwork, and form a new business. So that was really cool to see, because it was like, that's why we started this business. Was to help Columbia's entrepreneurs make those kind of changes. Now, because of the new world we live in, we will have a mix of virtual classes that we offer online as well as in-person training. We still continue to have a bookstore where we feature the best business books in the world. It's not just my personal opinion. We've also solicited some advice from local mentors of what businesses have really shaped, or what books have really shaped their business. So we feature those here as well, that for sale. And we also are the only store on the planet that sells the Full Focus Planner, which has been a popular productivity tool that has really exploded online, but we're the only physical store that sells it. Otherwise, you have to buy it online somewhere. In the midst of this crisis right now, one of the coolest things that we've actually had the chance to do is to just connect local business owners. Because we're still continuing to work with the Chamber of Commerce, where they're trying to put together trainings to help business owners figure out how to adapt to the current crisis. But in the midst of that, we feel like there was this missing piece of local small business owners being able to talk to each other. And so we actually just created a free pop-up online community on Slack, just a free community. And we just started telling a few friends, and we had more than 40 small business owners join immediately. And we did without really any big promotion. I mean, the reality is right now, because of the current crisis, we're doing a lot to connect to and serve local business owners that are already established. But long term, I expect that our role will more be in the new entrepreneur, right? So either a high school or college graduate, or someone who just, maybe just left a career in a certain job, and now they're trying to figure out, what do we do next? So let's just say you want to start a business and you don't know where to start. How can we help you actually validate that idea and map out your marketing plan, figure out what the best way to get financing for your business, and really to grow it sustainably? Because that's where the word thriving comes in, is that build a thriving business is a healthy business. So we want to help new entrepreneurs do that. And really, we want entrepreneurship to be seen as a career path. So when someone graduates high school and they're thinking, okay, where do I go next? Entrepreneurship is one of, starting a new business is one of the options in their list. America was founded by entrepreneurs. It was really founded on this whole entrepreneurship culture of solving problems and building businesses. And entrepreneurship has actually been in the decline in the last 20 years in America. There's a lot of reasons for that, but right now, in response to the Great Lockdown, what we need as a country and as a community here in Columbia is we need a revival and a resurgence of entrepreneurship. So we need people to jump in and solve problems. We don't need everyone to wait around for the government to fix it or to throw more money at the problem. We need to actually jump in and say, look, what can I do? And get to work. So that's why we're here, is to help make that possible.